Well then, good afternoon everybody, and let me thank you first very much for the invitation to the Praxis Forum. I think it's a very nice opportunity to share experiences from our different backgrounds. After this very nice lunch, I hope that I can still provide some food for thought and you are still able to digest it. So I think let's give it a try. Let's see how we manage this. With my presentation, I have actually two objectives. One is that I would like to share with you some of our attempts to help students to get the most out of an international traineeship when it concerns the development of key competences. So I will share some of our approaches and tools we developed to help students to develop those soft skills, which we heard are so important this morning, and especially those which are best gained during a traineeship in a foreign country during a stay abroad. However, I have also a second objective, especially for those who are interested in those quality issues of traineeships abroad. I would like to introduce and invite you to a format to keep in touch after this conference, because I always enjoy this exchange, but then when you come back to a full desk, what actually you do, how can you keep up with those ideas? And I would like to introduce a format we developed in the Europe Mobility Project. It's called Peer Learning Clubs, and I hope maybe some of you after this presentation feel invited to join such an online club to keep this exchange ongoing after this conference. Okay, just as I'm not a member of the Praxis network, allow me to introduce my background just a little bit, because actually the presentation is also a result of synergies of the different roles I have. First of all, I'm head of an Institute of Interdisciplinary Research in Fulda in Germany, and in this position I'm also the head of the EU Liaison Office for the University Fulda, and we help members of the university in the development of interdisciplinary and European funded projects. However, we also have our own projects, and two of them are relevant for this presentation. One is the UniKey project. It's a lifelong learning project which had the mission to unleash the entrepreneurial mindset among mobile students to see how can we train those entrepreneurial skills when students are abroad. And the other one I mentioned already is the Europe Mobility Network, which is associated to the Praxis network and which intends to promote quantity and quality of international traineeships and internships. Last but not least, we are also running mobility programs. So we are running a consortium for the Erasmus Placements Program. We fund graduates with Leonardo da Vinci placement grants, and we are also responsible in our region for the Erasmus for Young Entrepreneurs Program, which establish business partnerships between young and established entrepreneurs. Now let me come back to our starting point. We were actually looking what kind of activities actually students do when they go abroad for a traineeship. They have to first, of course, find, at least our students, most of them find the traineeships themselves, so they have to really think about it and turn this idea into action, actually find a traineeship. It involves a lot of creativity, and also there's a certain risk. Will I find the traineeship? Will I find accommodation? Will I survive this period abroad? For many of them, it's actually the first time to be abroad, and then also the first time to be in a company, so there are double, if you want, requirements. So they have to plan and manage their stay. They even have to do a number of financial management. They get a grant from us, but to tell you 350 euro for Erasmus Placements grant is not enough, so they have really to manage their finances if they want to have this internship abroad. There are a number of opportunities which come through such an internship, but it's really up to the student to seize them. And of course, such a traineeship is a foundation to acquire more knowledge and skills which can contribute to social and commercial activity, language skills, all those what students encounter when they are abroad, and they might also be confronted with ethical issues. So I'm telling all this because if you look at those keywords, they're actually a quotation, and they're coming from the definition of entrepreneurial competence. So the European Commission, with the start of the lifelong learning program, identified, I think, 7 or 8 key competences for lifelong learning, and entrepreneurial competence is one of them. And this is just taken from the definition of entrepreneurial competence. So in consequence, for us that means if a student goes abroad unintentionally, he will be confronted with many situations which actually allows them to develop skills which belong to the entrepreneurship competence. And often they are not aware of this. So that's why we thought we should try to find a way to bring this a bit more in the foreground, to make students aware that they actually did their first step towards it, often to be not aware of it. And so we set together in the UniKey project with employer representatives, students representatives, and university representatives to identify some of the key situations each student undergoes when he's on a traineeship abroad and turn them into entrepreneurial learning situations. So making them aware what it means and train some specific skills which come with that. In the end, we identified 7 key learning situations which are very typical. Of course, you have to plan your stay before you go, which returns then, you see it is ready to go into a learning module about career planning, to really connect what I'm doing abroad, how is this connected to my career. Then, of course, you have to do a lot of planning and management. So Plan to Succeed speaks about financial management, problem solving, things which are very much connected with an internship abroad. Have you heard deals with some of the ethical issues, confidentiality issues a student might encounter during a typical internship abroad? I have an idea refers to a situation that actually every student is in. He's often regarded as an ambassador for their home environment, which means region, university, etc. But this module really wants to reflect the students about his ambassador role and how he can or she can use this as a door opener. Just to give an example, many say, okay, of course, what can I bring as an added value as an international student to a foreign company or to the host region? And some, of course, say, yeah, of course, I have another intercultural background, I speak another language. And some of them come even to the idea, why not engage with somebody, a colleague of mine, to get a bit more contact in a tandem exercise. So I teach them a little bit, if I'm German, a German, and I learn in return a little bit of French, Romanian, and whatever language. However, this often keeps an idea, and with this module, we want students really to check, okay, what do I have to do next to really do it in the end, apart from having a full-time internship? So students share plans, how they approach people, and how they can really put these ideas into action. Turn It Around deals with typical situation of either under challenge. So we have from students report often that some of them, when the mentor has disappeared for a business trip or whatever, feel under challenge because there's not so much to do for them, or other are overstressed because old is new impressions, a new company, a new environment, etc. So this is then by us turned into an exercise on how to set goals, how to deal with difficult situations. Dare to Change is just another title for a module where we are starting with dealing with reluctances. So if you discover your own barriers, how actually can you overcome barriers you discover? How you can dare something new? And again, it's about strategic planning and creativity and all those aspects which are involved in. Enjoy Success, finally, refers to the reporting period each student has to do, but we turn it more, again, into reflection about ambassador roles they have when they return home. Because if they return home, they turn actually into an ambassador of their host environment, of their host region. And again, this can be used as a door opener and not just as a reporting exercise when you return home, that you try to find professors, try to find environments where you can provide your knowledge, your contacts, what you have then abroad and give this as an added value, and again use it as a door opener. And yeah, train pitching, all this is connected to entrepreneurial skills. So we don't call it so much as this, but in the end have a number of key situations which turned into a learning module for an accompanying online course. So the idea is that we embed the stay abroad into an online course which starts before students go, which run throughout the traineeship period, and in the best case ends shortly after the return home. So that's the idea which we piloted and which we implemented in this. However, we also noticed that maybe it's not enough to just have this accompanying training, because then students are confronted with this host ambassador idea and other ideas maybe a bit too late when they're already abroad or when they're all about to go. So which is actually a result of a peer learning activity, discovered would be good to start as early as possible. And so we sat together and said, okay, maybe we have already to change the letter of motivation, which is a key document when students apply for an Erasmus placements or Leonardo placements grant. So you will then discover that the host ambassador idea is actually already a question students need to answer in this letter of motivation, so that they have the first time heard about this already, and it will then reappear during their accompanying online training. And I just take the example of this module, which is I have an idea about this home ambassador role, and so this is an opportunity to train also something about stereotypes and prejudices, so that people don't run into that when speaking about their home ambassador role, but then reflect what it is actually about and how they can actually implement it, and how very concretely share with others in a group of maximum 20 people online, moderated by an online trainer, to really think about how can I perceive this role. And of course all is in English, which is another, if you want, content integrated language learning exercise, and of course it trains also as a side effect some communication skills and online learning skills. So this is just an example of one of those 7 modules. Well, finally, so this is the training we provide. However, in order to further develop this, I'm coming to the second part of the presentation, where I would like to introduce the Europe Mobility Network and our format to keep in touch a little bit more. Europe Mobility, just to be very short, is such as Praxis, a network funded by the Lifelong Learning Program. However, it has a more cross-sectoral approach, so it combines mobility coordinators from higher vocational and voluntary or non-formal education. The network does a number of activities. It's also about awareness raising of mobility, and just as a side note, until October 15th, there's still the Europe Mobility video contest running. So if you have some students which are very creative and do illustrative things, maybe you can just tell them they have still almost a week or a few days left to enter their work into the video contest. But what I actually want to focus about is what we call a peer learning club. So we have piloted this 2012-13 and have now, based on this experience, established a concept where we would invite everybody who is interested in the quality aspects of placement mobility to be part of such an online group. So what's about is to register at the Europe Mobility online community, which is free as it's a European project, and apply something which we call the quality development tool. What we did in the first year of the project is actually analyzing all the quality standards and tools and methodologies which are already available, because there are lots of European projects already running in the quality area. I think InEnter was one which I got to know at one of the conferences. So, and we tried to get a synthesis out of those different quality standards and tools to put it in the quality development tool, which is a kind of a self-assessment, a survey if you want, which is a mix of things which are obligatory if you want to have a good quality mobility program, and some which were optional. And for us, however, here it's the starting point, that you have like a menu, what is all possible, necessary, and give you ideas what could be areas for further development, for further exchange with other mobility coordinators. And this is for us a starting point to join an online club, which is made out of 5 to 10 people, moderated by a member of the European Mobility Network, where we want to exchange about how we can develop together those quality aspects. So I will kind of keep up. So it shows you how this is working. We will meet online in an online meeting to define the roadmap, what we want to do together to identify and share good practices. What do we regard as a good practice for key competences, for other aspects, dealing with the tutors or mentors in the company, all those aspects we heard about. And of course, then not keep it like that, but really think, what can we do, even if it's very little, like changing a letter of motivation, develop action plans, what can we do in our organization, in our contexts. And then the idea is, of course, if you present this, what you would like to do at home, to get ideas from peers to exchange how can others exchange the implementation, learning from the others, but also, play critical friend in order to develop your quality, and also to move this ahead a little bit bottom up before commission or whoever decides what quality all should be about, so that we really have a bottom up process there, which could, in the end, so this is not hidden, it's an open agenda. If we find common grounds, why not follow up this online activity, turning it into a cooperative or partnership project under the Erasmus Plus program, where such partnerships will also be funded, as of course this is an online activity which runs on the side, but could end up in a partnership which is then maybe an Erasmus Plus project. So this is our proposal. It's an invitation. And yes, if you are interested, so please feel free to join that. I have a few postcards with me if you want, and I can share that as the coffee break. But yes, it's an open invitation, and also a way I would suggest of a collaboration between the Europe Mobility and the Praxis network, just as one way forward. All right, so I'm looking forward to questions. And thanks for your attention.